Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our Friday Night Fight recording, and we've got George. What's going on, George?
Hi.
Did you like crawling through the webs like the crawl space?
Yeah, no, that was
pretty
neat.
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, first show to do it. And we've got JR. JR, did you like crawling through the new webs of the intro? Did you like that?
Well,
Like
I didn't feel like
under the house, like you're crawling under a crawl space?
I didn't feel like I was crawling. I kind of felt like I was Emma Stone falling through the the tower or whatever on my way to my death, or something like that.
Snap out of it. All right, so we are going back, George, to the year I was born. Marvel team up number 40 with Spider-Man and the Sons of the Tiger. Take me through this fight, sir.
All right, so before we get into this one, we have to preface a little as to what happened in Marvel Team Up number 39. And I also just right up front and saying, right up front, this is probably not one of the stories that JR points to as like being like dreadful team up stories, but honestly, I mean it's not good. I mean, there's far worse team up stories. This one's not a strong story.
But it's got a good fight, hence why you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it has a few problematic moments in
it does
when looking at things in a 21st century perspective.
This is not a politically correct comic.
Okay.
In some areas, but yeah, it's not a good story, but it's an interesting fight, and there's a couple of interesting things that happen despite it being a pretty mediocre story.
Okay.
But in number 39,
in
issue 39, you had this like weird subplot with Spider-Man and this little boy that like raised pigeons on top of a roof.
Spider-Man fought this kid.
No, he didn't fight the kid. He's up there like, the kid, he accidentally scared the kid and the kid spilled birdseed everywhere. So Spider-Man's helping him gather up his birdseed and he's like,
Okay.
Yeah. And then somebody tries to shoot Spider-Man and it winds up killing one of this kid's pet pigeons.
Oh, okay.
And then he's like, the kid's crying. He's like, who would do this? Who would do this? And Spider-Man's like, I don't know.
People shooting at me every day, man.
I don't know who would kill your bird. This is, and I'm like, it's a pigeon.
Right.
If you are, I mean, like I've been to New York, number one. Yeah. There's, I mean, people feed them and I'm looking at them like, why? These are sky rats.
Okay.
Pigeons are sky rats. Have you ever seen what happens to pigeons? Like when they notice that another pigeon is weak or ill or injured?
Well, they peck at them and kill them?
Yeah, they kill them.
Oh God!
Yeah, they all get together and can kill the injured pigeon.
That does prove they used to be dinosaurs.
I mean, they're awful creatures. They really are. Okay. So I remember reading that and I was like, dude, it's just a pigeon. It's all right. There's 40 million of them in that city. You'll find another one.
Right.
You'll find another one. But anyway, so there's that subplot, and then the Human Torch is riding through the sky in the Fantastic Car. And he gets attacked by the enforcers. The Fantastic Car gets lassoed by who's the one? No, it's Montana. Montana's
Montana.
One. Yeah.
He lassos the bathtub, huh?
Montana lassos the Fantastic Car out of the sky because that's what happens.
Why not?
With that kind of thing. And long story short, the enforcers minus Ox. It's Fancy Dan's pants, and Montana, and the big man who was supposed to be dead at this point.
Okay.
And the big man uses his gun. He's got some kind of special gas pellets that he's using that remove the torch's ability to ignite his flame. And I'm like,
okay. All right.
And I'm like, Jack, if you've got that kind of technology. There's several interdimensional, beings that would love to, have coffee with you. And
I think that gun is on the cover of the issue we're talking about right here.
Yeah.
So right here. Yeah.
And at one point, I remember at one point, like Dr. Doom made some kind of like foam that stopped him from flaming on. And then I think it hardened around him. That's because Dr. Doom is smart. And apparently so is the big man.
No doubt.
So they managed to capture Spider-Man and the Torch.
Okay.
because Spider-Man showed up to try to rescue, or Spider-Man showed up because he saw them carrying a coffin into a warehouse filled with holes, and he's like, how many, filled with holes on the top, like breathing holes, and he's like, how many dead people need holes where you can breathe, right? So he's like, what's going on here? So he kind of infiltrates the meeting with all these mobsters, and they're trying to auction off the Human Torch, and they're starting the bidding off at $1 million. Now, keep in mind, this is the New York underworld,
right?
And they've got a lot of money, but adjusted for inflation,
yeah,
$1 million is like $4.8 million today.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Just to put in mind how much money this is, and then another one says $2 million, which is almost $10 million in today's money.
Wow.
So you're like, that's fascinating, George. Did they ever punch anyone? Or fine.
All right. So that's why we get to 40, where they start throwing punches, right?
Yes. And so in 39, Spider-Man tries to save the torch, manages to get the torch out of the coffin, and then the fight. Right after that happens, Crime Master, who is also supposed to be dead.
Oh yeah,
shows up with the Sandman, and he's like, you know what? We're here to we're also here to beat ass. Crime Master's objectives are kill Spider-Man, and kill the Big Man.
Okay.
Because he wants to take over the underworld. There's no Magia here, but okay, whatever. You do you.
Right.
You can pretend the Magia doesn't exist and just say you on the underworld.
Right.
So that's where we start off here.
Okay.
With basically, I mean, this first splash page, you got some great Sal Buscema art.
Here, real quick, I'm going to pull it up. I want to reference, though, we got Lewis, who loves the podcast, is commenting that JR rules, George is a boss, and Brad is the man. Love your podcast. It's the holy trinity of the panel tonight, is what Lewis says.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you, Lewis. It's very nice. Vinkman's in the house. What's going on, Vinkman? Hornacek is here. That sounds like the Enforcers and the Sandman, how they were able to defeat the Human Torch in ASM 19, I think, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
They probably.
And Hornacek wants to know if this issue has the level of cringe of High on Black Goliath from the 70s team up.
At one point, yes.
Oh, wow.
At one point, yes.
I've got this opening page is kind of cool for the issue, George. It shows everybody involved in this fight.
Yeah. Big, well, not everybody. I mean, it shows everybody involved so far.
Right.
Oh no, wait. Yeah, you're talking about the first page. I thought you.
Yeah, this is the very first page. Yeah.
No. Yeah, the Sons of the Tiger. Now, the Sons of the Tiger.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, are a group, and it's weird. It's very sexist.
Oh.
Because on the cover and on the splash page, they're presented as three dudes, left to right in that panel. That's Bob Diamond, and that's Lin Sue and Abe Brown.
Okay.
All right, those are the Sons of the Tiger. There is a fourth Son of the Tiger named Lotus. But Lotus is a woman, so Lotus doesn't get representation.
Oh man, that sucks.
Even though she does key things in the issue, she's not allowed to be in the splash page or on the cover.
Well, there's the splash page you're talking about. Look at all that fighting going on. My goodness.
Yeah, she's actually pretty key in this fight.
Omnipopia in there too.
Oh, you got the Pow Pow, the Fanoosh, the Foosh.
Yeah, look at everything going on here, right?
This shot where Spider-Man, he does it every now and then. He uses like the end of a web as like a punch. I think that's kind of cool.
That's the early version of impact webbing.
Yes, exactly. Man, that thing's a lot going on there.
Yeah. So you've got Crime Master trying to go after, or you got Crime Master and Sandman on the left side. Sandman's over there trying to hit Fancy Dan, and I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure if Sandman hits Fancy Dan, that's it for Fancy Dan.
He's dead, Dan.
Yeah, the Enforcers. I mean, they don't really. I mean, aside from Ox, who is big and strong, but that's still like physical level. They're not like enhanced humans or anything. They didn't take some Enforcer serum,
right,
or something like that. They're just dudes.
And the Sandman's a villain at this point, right?
Oh yeah. Sandman's a villain. He makes reference at one point in the story to having, or I think it was at the end of last story. He makes reference to having gotten out of his costume and gone back to his old duds. So this is right after he had that unfortunate, stupid costume that they had him in some of his appearances with the Frightful Four and the Fantastic Four. Yeah, right. That was an unfortunate time for the Sandman.
Yeah, no doubt, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of a free for all here. There's three competing groups. You've got Crime Master and two-thirds of the Enforcers. Why Ox is in here, I don't know.
Okay.
And you've got maybe they decided, you know what? There's already too many guys. You've got Crime Master and Sandman on the other side. You got Spidey and the Torch caught in between.
I think the Ox was dead.
Was Ox dead?
Yeah, I think he had died in an issue of Daredevil.
That's right.
And he wasn't replaced until Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man number like 19 or 20 or something like that. So,
and it was another. They called the second one Ox also, but it's a different dude, if I remember correctly.
Right. Well, being dead's no excuse to miss out on a cool gang fight.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true because after all, Crime Master and Big Man are there. So what's the Ox used?
Yeah, Crime Master and Big Man managed to make an appearance, and they're both supposed to be dead.
Right.
But yeah, you've also got a lot of other gangsters in there, just your regular mobsters who showed up, to bid on whatever it was that they thought the Big Man was auctioning off, and it turned out to be the Human Torch. So you've got this fantastic Sal Buscema splash page. Way to start off the issue, right?
No doubt.
And then we go into Spider-Man, kind of schooling Fancy Dan in Montana, doing it very well. Fancy Dan rushes after him. Spider-Man jumps over him and hits Montana square on. It's very nice. But as soon as he's doing that, he has to dodge out of the way as Sandman tries to hit him. And then with everything going on between the enforcers and between Sandman trying to come after him, the Big Man manages to actually get a backhanded pistol.
Back of the head with that gun.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Crack right there, literally, like the back of the head with a pistol.
Right.
And then so when Torch goes over to try to help Spidey, Sandman, of course, jumps all over him so that he can't ignite himself.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, can't he? Number one, this is way before he did the Nova Flamity issue, number one, which literally would kill everyone in the room, in the warehouse. It would destroy the building and kill everybody there.
It's like the heat of the sun.
Yeah. But number two, I'm like, I know that enough sand will put a fire out, obviously. But, this is the Human Torch. This isn't like someone's stove is on fire. This isn't like, oh, no, here's the chemicals in the photo lab caught fire. Quick, grab a bucket of sand. This is the Human Torch.
Right.
He can actually flame on.
And burn the heck out of that sand, I guess.
Yeah, although, you know what? I'm trying to think back. And I'm a big Fantastic Four fan, and I feel a little ashamed about knowing this. Isn't he able to, like, flame on underwater or no?
Oh, I don't know.
As I'm thinking about it now, I don't think he is. In that case, it kind of makes sense for Sandman to kind of smother him. Oh,
I was just going to say, yeah, he's getting smothered.
We're splitting hairs. Hairs. But as Sandman starts smothering Johnny Storm, we've got another pistol crack to the head.
Another whap. Man, this guy's got one trick. Back of the head with a gun.
If villains would start, doing things like shooting more with the gun and not using it as an improvised melee weapon, perhaps they would get further, right? So he manages to hit the torch in the side of the head. Meanwhile, all of these goons, now these are the other mobsters that were there, just regular goons to show up to bid on Big Man's auction. So they're all dogpiling Spider-Man and hitting them, and and they don't realize Spider-Man's not trapped under them. They're trapped there with Spider-Man.
With Spider-Man.
So as soon as they're all on top of him, Spider-Man just starts going ham. Right? We've got that great panel where once again we have Sal Buscema showing somebody losing teeth. Sal loves that, and I love that about Sal's art. The times we see teeth fly out, those are great.
Yep.
Starts throwing people across the room, hitting everybody left and right. Literally, he sends two dudes into the wall.
Boom, boom.
And then before
there they go.
Yeah, before you know it, it's just a crumpled mass of humanity.
There you go.
Sitting there underneath him.
He's even taunting them. They just don't make hoods the way they used to,
Yeah. He's taunting them while they're down.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of them was still semi-conscious and managed to, raise his hand.
And the next one's going to need to see the prison dentist.
Yeah. So they've got this. They've got the torch wrapped up in Sandman's arms, holding him hostage, and they're like, "Stop, or we'll kill this guy." But also, we're going to kill this guy, and we're going to kill you. So really, So it really doesn't matter. I'm like, you're not giving him much to work with. There's not a lot. It's like negotiating with terrorists. Where were you starting? Okay, well, we're starting from the premise of don't blow us up. And the terrorists are starting from the premise of we like blowing you up. There's really not a middle ground, right?
Right.
So, so while they're all talking to one another, Big Man manages to step up and hit Spider-Man with a simple leather sap.
Man, he said, "I've used the gun too much. I got to whack him."
He hasn't used the gun too much. He hit a guy over the head, and then he used it on the Human Torch, but not with bullets, with that weird gas. So anyway, so next door, you see a group of people practicing the martial arts. They are experts in kung fu.
Okay.
The Sons of the Tiger. They all have these little power amulets, by the way, which are important for adjacent Spider history. Ooh. And that, well, we see the seeds of it here. This is their I think their second appearance. They'd already appeared in Deadly. Their first appearance was in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, the black and white magazine.
Oh, we finally see the girl.
Yeah. So there's Lotus, and Lotus is okay. So here's the thing about the group. Here's about the thing about the group dynamic. Lotus is going out with the blonde guy.
Okay.
Bob Diamond. Okay. But her and Lin Su, the other Chinese guy on the team, they're actually kind of hot for one another.
Okay.
Like they're but it's
that
behind
guy.
It's behind Bob's back. Yeah. So Lotus hasn't told Bob yet that she has the hots for Lin Su. And so right now everybody's still pals. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, you wouldn't have known it by the cover, but sure enough, the Sons of the Tiger have a female member, and she's actually very vital in this issue.
Cool.
I give Bill Mantlo credit for that much, at least.
And I haven't heard of these since '75. Are they still around? I wonder.
They've made a few appearances. I think Lotus appeared. I think she's actually appeared maybe within the last 10 years. I don't remember where though.
Yeah.
But we'll get to them at the end of the issue. But so Lotus and Lin Su go next door to see what's going on, because there's a lot of noise going on where the big fight is happening. And at one point, Bob Diamond had said, "Well, I thought that was rats." And I'm like, "What kind of rats make that kind of noise, dude? There's guys getting thrown into walls. How big are these rats? Like bear size? What are you, nuts?"
And I don't know. Do you ever see how big Splinter? How big was Splinter?
Well, and some turtles.
Yeah, but I mean, Splinter was. I mean, he was a rat, but he was a mutated rat. That's a little different story.
Can you imagine walking in and seeing that?
Yeah, so they kind of sneak in. Human Torch is in like something they would in a symbiote containment unit.
In '75.
Yeah, and Spider-Man is hog-tied and hung from the ceiling.
Why don't they just kill him? I mean, come on. They've been watching too many Batman '60s shows.
And because the Crime Master and Big Man both have beef with Spider-Man and both want him dead.
Right.
They look at the other gangsters like, all right, we're going to let you decide who gets him. And I'm like, this is the least criminal thing on earth.
This is like The Price is Right with Superman.
Yeah. This is like, who's in Crime Master's mask? Bob Barker?
Yeah. Well, and then you think Spider-Man should be there saying, "I say we let him go."
Yeah. And Spidey even does kind of, chime up here and says, well, what about me? Don't I have a say in this?
Oh, man. Vinkman says that the Sons of Tiger popped up in an issue of J2 back in the 90s. There you go.
Yeah. So, Lin Su sends Lotus to go next door and get Bob and Abe to come over because they've got way too many people to fight. But it doesn't stop Lin Su. Lin Su jumps in and hits Crime Master right in the chest. Right.
There we go. Right there. Yeah. Look at that.
And it doesn't take long for the other Sons of the Tiger to go ahead and make their way in. And now it's another melee against another big brouhaha.
Right. I don't know if this is something Sal would like to draw because it's a lot of characters, but it does look like he's having fun drawing it.
I mean, he does a great job with it.
Yeah. It's probably very tedious, but he makes it look so cool. He's
doing a good job of it. And honestly, the Sons of the Tiger are they jump in and they kind of start, beating ass on the Enforcers and the Big Man, on 2/3 of the Enforcers and the Big Man. Fancy Dan is just no match for Bob Diamond. Battling Bob.
Oh, where's he? Oh, yeah, over here. Yeah, getting it.
And Bob Diamond even talks about himself in the third person there after he throws Fancy Dan into Montana. But you're out of your league if you think a chop like that is going to take out Bob Diamond.
Not Bob Diamond. That's a great
Bob
name.
Diamond.
It sounds like a wrestler's name or something.
Yeah, it does.
Beautiful Bob Diamond. Something like that. Yeah. Bodacious Bob Diamond, something like that. So while the Sons of the Tiger are taking on the Enforcers, Lotus is able to free Spider-Man, which is key
Right.
You know, one of the things you want to do is you want to free Spider-Man. And it makes you wonder because Spider-Man can press 10 tons. He's strong enough to tear a rope apart, literally.
But
so I don't know why he wasn't able to bust out of this.
I think it was due to plot.
I think he needed to be tied up so that Lotus could come in and rescue him.
And this is a phrase you don't hear very much. Lady, you've just made this little web slinger as happy as a hot dog.
Yeah. That's how happy is your hot dog, Peter?
Well, after never mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe that's a little personal. I don't know.
Hornacek says so. The Sons of the Tiger show up in this issue because they live next door and their neighbors are too noisy. That's what starts the fight.
Literally, that you're exactly right. I said at the start of this isn't a great story. I said there's a lot of problems with the story.
Oh man! All right.
So we cut from Spider-Man talking about his happy hot dog, where the Sandman is about to jump Abe Brown from behind. Abe Brown, of course, is the African American member of the of the Sons Kung Fu, and the Sandman's like, the black dude is too busy with Crime Master to see me coming.
Oh no!
And I'm like, oh my god, Sandman, no,
Sandman,
you need to get woke. we don't talk about people that way anymore. Come on, dude, be better, Sandman.
Well, wait till you hear how Montana refers to Mr. Sulu later on.
Oh yeah. So
here we go.
So the Sons of the Tiger, he hits Abe Brown from behind. Like his big old fist, like it puts Abe Brown down for momentarily.
Right there, yeah.
And Lin Soon and Bob start attacking him, but they can't because he's surprised he's made of sand. Yeah.
Yep.
So Spider-Man webs him up. He turns into sand to escape the webbing. And then reforms underneath them, puts them on their asses. And then Sandman starts going after Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Spider-Man, who punches a little harder than the Sons of Kung Fu, manages to kind of wallop Sandman after he tries to get him when he's up on the rafters.
Okay.
And he sends him across the room into some crates. And the Sons of the Tiger, they're like, oh, holy smokes, look at him. Look at what he did with one punch. And I'm like, you must be new in town. This is Spider-Man. It's what he.
Spider-Man's beat him with a vacuum cleaner before.
It's Spider-Man beats ass.
He does.
It's why you pays your money for this stuff. So, Big Man is Crime Master and Big Man are trying to look for a way out. And Crime Master says, hey, follow me. I know a way we can get out of here. And Big Man's like, no way. There's no way out. And Crime Master's like, just be ready to follow me when I say.
Okay.
So he throws a bomb, the narration describes as an acrid gas. But so it's some sort of chemical agent, but he throws it out, and sure enough, the warehouse fills with gas. Everyone's coughing, covering their faces, but they manage to stumble out of the warehouse. Now this splits the fight because you had people fighting, and now you've got the Human Torch, Spider-Man, and Sons of the Tiger kind of stumbling their way out of the warehouse, while the bad guys make their way out the other side.
Hey, look, Sal wrote his name on the wall here.
Yeah.
There you go.
So as soon as they get out of the warehouse, they're like, well, what are we going to go? We still got bad guys out there. What are we going to do? And Human Torch is like, well, that's your problem. I got a date with a hot chick later. I'm guessing he means Crystal at this point in history.
No, yeah, he's out.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, flame out.
Flame out.
Yeah. So Spider-Man takes the brief pause to catch up with the kid.
Well, the pigeon kid we were talking about.
The pigeon kid we were talking about earlier. They go through the same thing again. Who would hurt my Pepita? I don't understand what kind of man. And I'm like, they weren't shooting at your pigeon, dude. If they want to kill pigeons, they put poison out. That's what they do for pigeons. They don't take them out.
His name is Mosquito.
Yeah, I didn't.
His name's Mosquito.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. And me neither. Mosquito. Oh wow.
And the first issue, or in 39, they may have said his name. I just don't remember it.
No, they just did it here.
I think Mosquito may be like a nickname. I doubt his given Christian name is Mosquito. An insect which sucks blood. That's what her mother chooses to name a child.
That would suck. Get it?
I'm
Mosquito?
sure. Yeah. No, you're a terrible human being, Brad.
I know.
But while he's talking to Mosquito on the roof, he notices the bad guys escaping out of a sewer entrance,
right,
or a sewer exit. Pardon me. Like they've crawled up to the manhole and they've moved the cover. Yep. So he sees them going off back towards the warehouse where they were fighting, but they're going into the other warehouse to take care of the Sons of the Tiger, right? For having the audacity, I guess, to interrupt their funsies.
Okay.
So we cut to the Sons of the Tiger, two of which have been overwhelmed by Sandman, right?
Oh, okay.
Lin Su is tied up, and Crime Master has Lotus by her hair with a gun to her head.
Oh, not nice.
Yeah. And so Crime Master's like, why don't we just kill all these guys now? But Crime Master doesn't want to. Crime Master's like, no, the only death this night will be Spider-Man's. And I'm like, are you sure you're committed to this criminal thing?
Look at Spider-Man peeking in the window.
Yeah.
I think that's hysterical.
Yeah, Spider-Man's like looking through. This place is like boarded up, and he's like, looking through like a little hole in the board.
There we go.
But then things get real when Crime Master shoots Big Man.
This is what happens when you don't use the barrel of the gun.
Yeah, and he's like, Crime Master, no. And so it turns out the other end is super effective.
Yeah.
Who knew? Right?
Right.
So Crime Master gets shot and goes down hard with a whump.
Poor Lotus.
And Lotus the whole time. Crime Master's got her hair, but right after Big Man gets shot, you've got Fancy Dan and Montana and Sandman saying, "Yeah, we've got no problem following you as long as we get as long as we're getting paid."
Right.
Whatever. And as soon as they recommit to Crime Master, Spider-Man makes his dramatic entrance, comes in, kicks Montana in the midsection, sends him flying away from Lin Soon, webs Sandman's face, and then Abe Brown and Bob Diamond are able to bust out of Sandman. While
it's like they're playing at the beach over there.
Yeah, I love how many times we see like Crime Master pulling Lin Su or Lotus around by her hair.
Jeez.
I feel bad for her in here, but
look what Spider-Man's caption is right there. But I'll be the last thing you ever do, only if you hit me, you dead-eyed dick.
Yeah. And he's trying to shoot Spider-Man. Of course, that's not going to happen. You're not going to shoot Spider-Man with a pistol,
No.
And so Spider-Man's dancing around the pistols, and then finally Lotus has to. This must feel good for Lotus,
no doubt.
While Crime Master's distracted, she was like, "Look, I was willing, I was willing to suffer the ignominy of your touch." Of your touch, as long as she didn't have a choice. But now that she does, now that she's free, now that the gun's not pointed at her, she hits Crime Master in the breadbasket, and then pushes up like on his face, like gives him the old 1-2, and good for her,
No doubt. Don't pull her by the hair, man.
Suddenly, Crime Master doesn't have a hostage anymore. So Spider-Man comes over and wallops Crime Master.
Oh, that's a Sal Buscema pose, right there.
That is, somebody getting knocked across the room upside down. That's
no doubt.
That's
Sal right there, man.
Exactly. And I'm sure there'd be teeth flying out if Crime Master wasn't wearing a mask.
Call the dentist. Sal Buscema's drawing
it. Yeah. So with Crime Master down, with Big Man down, Lotus and Spider-Man join the others, and all 5 of them wind up hitting Sandman all at once and
look at that.
Beating him down. And Sandman's like, I can still get away. I just have to turn to Sand, but he passes out.
He's done.
Just passes out. Meanwhile, Crime Master has stumbled over. Get ready, folks. Get ready, folks. Crime Master has stumbled over to Big Man. And he's like, oh, so you're still alive. This is after he shot him, and he's like, I can't die until I've destroyed Spider-Man for what he did to me. Give me that gun. So Spider-Man webs their hands together while they're fighting for the gun, right? And then Spider-Man, he and the Sons of the Tigers are kind of gathered around them, both of them, and Big Man pulls off, or no, I'm sorry, Crime Master pulls off. It's kind of hard sometimes, like Crime Master, Big Man. Some of these guys
seem like the same idea, yeah.
But yeah, they unmask Big Man, and it turns out to be no one you've seen before. And that's the thing. Like Spider-Man unmasks Crime Master first, and it turns out,
Oh.
No, he's not. He's not.
Oh, you don't know me from Adam. Okay.
Yeah. His name is Nick Lewis Jr. He's the son of the original Crime Master. But so he gets unmasked first, and Spider-Man's like, "Oh, I see who you are. I have no idea who you are." And so then he pulls off
what?
He pulls off the mask off the big man, and the big man is this hot blonde chick. And then Crime Master, who AKA Nick Lewis Jr., starts freaking out, and he's like, "Oh God, no, Janice!" And everybody's like, "The hell is Janice?" Right? And so it turns out that Janice is Frederick Foswell's daughter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot.
And so
about
she
that.
went. Yeah. So when Foswell died, she got the insurance money. She was in school in Europe, just like Nick Lewis Jr. They met over there, came back here. We're dating. We're talking about their past with Spider-Man, and so Nick Lewis Jr. decided to be Crime Master to kill Spider-Man as a favor to Janice. But it turns out Janice was thinking the same thing.
Right.
So they both become, they assume their criminal legacies, and don't realize that they're also at odds with one another. So we see Frederick Foswell's daughter, and the only time we actually see her is when she's dead. Because the rest of the time she was wearing a mask the whole time, and so he's lamenting, and he's not really accepting that she's dead, and he's like, "Why don't you answer me?" Like he's going crazy, with the whole. Remember, like when Gwen Stacy died, and Spider-Man's like, "No, I saved you. You're okay." Because he was snapping.
This is yes, exactly.
Yeah.
How O. Henry-esque is this?
Yeah. It's.
Oh, Hornacek says that's the big woman.
Well, not anymore. Now she's the big corpse. He even says here, he's like, she must have disguised her voice, padded her costume to look bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay.
Come on, Jack.
Okay, sure. Sure she did. All right, whatever.
So then they walk off, huh? That's the end of it.
Yeah, that's the end. I mean, Spider-Man's like, yeah, you'll have plenty of time to think about this in jail. And I'm like, oh, shouldn't you be webbing him up or something? I mean, like everybody's just leaving.
He's like, the book's done. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Should somebody be calling the cops or something?
So, who won the fight?
Oh, well, I mean, clearly, this isn't Spider-Man. I mean, once Spider-Man, busts through the window, it's kind of game over for everybody. Stuff turns really quickly. So some interesting anecdotal information with the Sons of the Tiger. Like the Beatles, they broke up because of a woman.
Okay.
In this case, it was one of their members, though. It was Lotus, because Lotus eventually, the group finally realized that that Lotus was actually into Lin Soon and not Bob Diamond, and this caused a lot of tension. So the group just broke up.
When did this happen?
I don't remember, but they threw their amulets of power into a garbage can, which were found by Hector Ayala, who then
White Tiger.
Yeah, who then used them to become the White Tiger.
Got it. I remember that. Real quick, because we're running just a little long on this. Toby wants to know the last thing Sal drew. He inks a lot of Sal Buscema's art, but he did some variant covers for Marvel, like in the early 2010s. Like you can see that. Glenn wants to know why superheroes just don't have a combination of fists and shop vacs to defeat Sandman every time, which is kind of funny. Donnie D says that bomb looks like a soup thermos. Michael wants to know, in those days, was Spidey holding back? Was he punching 50 to 75%?
Probably with like the normal goons that they were fighting towards earlier on, like the guys like that dogpiled him and he wound up beating them. Right. Like he probably wasn't hitting them as hard as he was hitting Sandman, for example.
Matt says, what the writer, which is Mr. Mantlo, he actually got to hear Kung Fu fighting as he was writing this, possibly.
Probably 75.
Yeah.
I think. I think it was probably out by then.
Vinkman says Crystal was already married to Quicksilver, so Johnny's off to see another girl.
Yeah. In fact, Kung Fu Fighting came out in 1974.
Yep.
So sure enough, they would probably have been listening to this while.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So we will be back in just a couple seconds to start our May issue of Friday Night Fights. Thanks for tuning in for this one, guys.